I want to deal with the revenue recognition part of your report, if you may. For the benefit of the court, can you explain in plain, simple language what is meant by revenue recognition? And by the way, what do you want to do with this?
Yes, I should ask you that question. What are you seeking to achieve with the witness?
That she stays with her opinion that our way of revenue recognition is right way to do it, based on accepted principles. So, for the benefit of the court, can you explain in simple language what is meant by revenue recognition?
Revenue recognition is really the point at which a company can legitimately say that the income that they've received from a customer belongs to them.
Now, can you slow down, please? I have to write all of that down.
Sorry.
And legitimately is a big word. It's the point at which a company can legitimately claim that
the revenue is theirs.
Yes. It doesn't have to be a dictation speed at all, but these are concepts that are possibly not always familiar to the court, so it's very helpful if witnesses slow down a little bit. But it doesn't have to be a dictation speed. Okay, which revenue recognition is... I'm sorry, can you repeat the answer again? The point at which a company can legitimately claim the revenue belongs to them. Yeah.
Before I go any further with the revenue recognition, are there any generally accepted standards for accounting?
Yes, there are.
Can you name the most used?
In relation to revenue recognition, I would tell
in general,
right.
I will come back to the revenue recognition in a minute. In general?
There are IFRS, which are the internationally recognized accounting standards.
Oh, the IRS, yes. Is there one accepted standard for revenue recognition?
It's generally you would use IFRS 15, which deals with revenue recognition. I believe that's been included in the pack.
It's in the bundle. I believe it's page 57 for the benefit of the court.
Thank you.
And what does it say? Can you, not reading it, but in plain language, can you give me a big, quick line? What does it say? What does it mean?
It sets out how a business can recognize revenue and the conditions that need to be met in order for that revenue to be recognized.
Yes. And now let's have a look at the literal IFRS 31. I shall quote, an entity shall recognize revenue when or as the entity satisfies a performance obligation by transferring or promising goods or services to a customer. So, what is it saying in that piece? What is it saying exactly? Simply.
That means company A, in this case Stewart Medical, has actually satisfied its obligation to its customer and transferred the asset or the good to that customer.
Yes, and I believe is satisfied and in other words, correct me if I'm wrong, you say when the customer has the goods in his hands, right?
That's right. Control of those goods.
Control of
further states that the customer has control of that asset.
Yes. And for Can you give a meaning of control?
And controllers would be able to use that asset. If they don't have the asset or they don't have the goods, they can't use it.
Thank you. Shall we step back for a moment? Are there any other methods for revenue recognition?
Yes, there are different methods of revenue recognition.
Can you expand on that?
I suppose that would depend on the accounting policy of a business as to when they decide to recognise revenue.
And in this case, which policy is used?
I understand that if I look at the accounting policy, Stewart Medical's policy was to recognise revenue at the time of invoicing.
Why doesn't that standard apply in this case?
Because to me, the risks and rewards of ownership have not transferred at the point of invoicing.
Thank you. In your report, you wrote something about the revenue recognition for December. What did you write?
For December?
2020.
In figure 1, I set out the sales trend for Stewart. I've illustrated that the sales in December 2020 show a marked increase compared to prior months, and also from what was expected from the budget.
Correct. Stewart entered in 2020. Stewart entered into an agreement with a number of major clients.
That's correct.
Do you know what kind of an agreement?
I understand that the credit terms had been extended.
What kind of what was the upside for the major companies?
They would be able to buy more and they would not have to pay for those goods for a long time.
And what was the upside for Stewart?
Well, Stewart has shown in December that they've increased their sales markedly compared to the rest of the year.
And why did they do that, you say?
In my opinion, I believe this was to inflate the revenue before the sale of the business.
Thank you. You also observed another peculiarity with the 2020 revenue recognition, didn't you? Can you explain to me why?
Sorry, you're going to have to guide me through what my second particular was.
I'm drawing your attention to when the date of recognition. It was in. They put on the revenue for December, but it should have been January, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yes. In your report, you gave a remedy for these improprieties in the revenue recognition. That's correct, isn't it?
That's right. I've set that out in paragraph 20.
Can you explain to the court your remedies?
Yes. I've shown sales that were reported for December 2020. You can see the 2.5 million.
Yes.
And I've taken I've reduced this by all the deliveries that were made after 2020, so in January, so in 2021, and I've reduced the sales revenue because I believe those sales are for the next year rather than 2020.
Yes. And what was your opinion on the sales levels?
Again, too high in 2020.
And what will the ultimate effect be of these remedies on the?
Okay, let's stop.